Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 129, which is called The Village Hidden in the Leaves. So we finally start off properly, I suppose, this traveling to the past arc, Sasuke and Boruto getting to meet the younger characters again. And I thought it was really fun. It was a really good setup, and it got everything kind of going, in that we got a lot of the character interactions we were kind of expecting, hoping for, but also the setup for the main plot, in that, okay, the main thing with the plot is that we get explained by the turtle that they have arrived a little bit earlier than Urashiki kind of wanted to. So they're going to be here for a few days before Urashiki finally makes his way there. Urashiki's plan is to take the Kurama's chakra from younger Naruto, and they're here ahead of time to set up their protection. So that's, I think, a pretty decent setup. It allows you to have a lot of character interaction stuff even before the action starts, which could be a distraction from the character-driven focus that we want, and then it allows you to have a kind of big incident happen. So the details of the incident, it's going to be difficult to see how that is resolved, in that you kind of have to have Sasuke be the one to, I suppose, quote-unquote, defeat Urashiki, don't you? Unless they are going to have the other characters deal with an Otsutsuki long before Kaguya gets introduced. So there is a kind of confusing aspect to this, in that I am wondering, by the end of this arc, are they going to do what you'd almost expect from arcs like this and come up with some way for the characters from the past, their memories of this, to sort of fade away in some way. I think unless you very carefully do who gets involved with the big incidents, I think that's kind of what you have to do with this episode, with this arc. But we'll see how they go about it, because I do like how they're doing it, and I think for Boruto, I think, is obviously going to remember this, but I think the question is obviously they're not. I don't think they're going to do a thing where suddenly Boruto is with Naruto at the end of this arc, actual adult Naruto back in the present, and suddenly Naruto's wait, I feel like I suddenly recognize you from the past. I doubt they're really going to do that. They might tease something like that, but it's going to be interesting to see how they overall deal with the time travel. But yeah, immediately they decide that, okay, they get the rules of sort of time travel here, which is obviously, don't let people know your actual identity, don't let them know you're from the future, or you could change what happens going forward. So they immediately decide to, okay, take off the ninja headbands, wear outfits that more match the current time of the village. So Sasuke is wearing a hat, of course, and Boruto has his sort of old Leaf Village style kind of kids clothing. So pretty fun stuff. And the main thing that they notice, of course, is there's the stone monuments. The village is not the new fancy village that they have currently in Boruto. And the first thing they come across is that Ichiraku is, of course, the main sort of restaurant in the village. There's no Thunder Burger, which of course is Boruto's big place, and he sees oh wow, Ichiraku, the place that's always talked about. It's such a small place at present time, and you see Boruto really kind of struggling to adapt to the fact that they have to be this undercover. It's probably the most frustrating, I suppose, part of this episode, is just that Boruto is being very, very over the top silly. Come on, you have to have a little bit more sense than this. The fact that he bumps into Naruto, and immediately upon seeing him and recognizing him is Dad? The exact thing they didn't want to happen and they talked about is the exact thing that he does. It's one thing bumping into him, but it's saying that as the first word, and he does it again later on. So I think they're borderline teasing the fact that at some point Naruto is going to figure out that Boruto is from the future, and they're going to have to do something to take away the memories of this incident. But we'll see when they get to that, if they get to it. But yeah, so they first actually come across Sakura, and it's very interesting to see Sasuke's reaction, in that he makes sure to not at all interact with Sakura, because as he says, you know, we're so close, she would probably recognize me immediately. So he makes sure to completely stay out of her sight, but Boruto immediately tries to ask her, you know, where's Naruto? But Sasuke, of course, takes him away. And yeah, they end up running into Naruto and Jiraiya kind of shortly after this. Literally, Jiraiya and Naruto run into them because they got caught doing the Jiraiya's research for his books, which was it was fun to get that referenced again. And given that we just had the episode just before this about, you know, them trying to find the Make Out Tactics books, now they see like, oh, this is why we're not meant to read the books, because Jiraiya is a pervert and he just goes around researching the whole time. So that was fun in that, like, Boruto got to meet Jiraiya after hearing about him. But I suppose over the course of this arc we will actually get to see Boruto see Jiraiya in action and see the serious side of him in a similar way that he sees the more goofy side of Naruto here. But we're waiting, of course, to have Boruto see the Naruto that I suppose we all fell in love with as you know, fans of the series. We're waiting to get to those moments of Boruto seeing Naruto like make statements like "I will be the Hokage" and stuff like that. The other thing would be the when this is set in original Naruto, in that the biggest telling is obviously that Tsunade has just come into power, and they also mention that a Leaf Village shinobi has just deserted the village. To me, that sets this after Naruto and Sasuke's battle at the Valley of the End. The reason I say that is because they specifically word it as a shinobi deserted the village, and they would only know that, I think, after the Valley of the End, at which point they realized that Sasuke went off on his own rather than being like taken or kidnapped by Orochimaru, which was the start of the, you know, Sasuke retrieval arc. So I don't think it's prior to that arc. I think it's actually after Valley of the End, during the sort of gap in a way between Shippuden and original Naruto. So that makes sense. This is the perfect time to fit all this stuff in. You have Sasuke away from the village, and you have Naruto kind of open and free to sort of interact with the rest of the Genin and so on, and Shikamaru, of course, as a Chunin at this point. But it's cool that it's set there because you immediately get that is going to be a plot point. Sasuke has yet to tell Boruto about his past. Boruto, I think, knows the core of like Naruto's kind of past, but maybe he doesn't realize the importance of it. But with Sasuke, he just doesn't know full on that Sasuke left the village and the impact that what Naruto had to do to get him back, and how kind of far Sasuke fell. And where he hears about this from is going to be very interesting, in that obviously I think it's going to be either Naruto or Sakura who is the one to reveal this to Boruto. And then I assume this is when Boruto is going to have to confront Sasuke about this and have Sasuke actually tell Boruto, because I think we are trying to build up the sort of master-student relationship between Boruto and Sasuke, which, you know, outside of the movie, basically, we haven't got a ton of, like, what their dynamic really is. Like, compare Boruto and Sasuke to Naruto Jiraiya, it's night and day in terms of Sasuke is very aloof, not really assisting Boruto all that much, whereas, you know, you can see there is actually a very interesting dynamic between Naruto and Jiraiya, which we haven't quite got yet here. But yes, seeing how Sasuke explains, I suppose, his absence and his ups and downs is going to be interesting to see how Boruto like reacts to it, and probably sees Naruto and his desire to get Sasuke back, and it'll obviously, I think, improve Boruto's opinion of his father. It is going to be very interesting, though, how it changes how he views Sasuke, who he sees as being like the coolest shinobi in the village, because he's not the Hokage, but he does a similar type of role. But he doesn't know kind of why Sasuke has locked himself into that role yet. So that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, they also get to meet Tsunade as well, and their cover story is that they're traveling performers, which Sasuke explains as like, oh, we use a small amount of ninjutsu. It's not as good as Shinobi's, and he just shows this rubber ball exploding into confetti, and they're like, okay, cool, but we need Naruto to actually like watch over you. So Sasuke eventually slips away, leaving Naruto and Boruto to actually just interact for most of the episode. Boruto does get to kind of basically be there while Naruto and Sakura have a talk, but the result of the episode is that it ends with Naruto bringing Boruto back to his house to obviously keep an eye on him even while they're asleep, and this is when I suppose they really kind of become closer here. It goes from being that these two random people who just met to actually understanding each other a little bit more. I think what they talk about here in the last couple of minutes of the episode is really, really well done, of Boruto sort of realizing that, you know, the sort of things that people say about Naruto from the past are like 100% true, and that like he always eats ramen, he lived on his own, was kind of goofy in so many ways. He's seeing all of that up close, but he's also getting the sort of more emotional side of that, of like he lived on his own. He didn't know his own mother and father, and so is interested in, and the fact that like he asks Boruto about what's your dad like, and you get Boruto talking about, like, you think he's sort of being critical of Naruto, but he actually, in the end, when Naruto asks, but you don't hate him for all of that, you seem to like talking about him, Boruto does say, yeah, I don't hate him. So that's showing the growth that Boruto's already gone through in the series, and I suppose just that realization here of just seeing Naruto want to know about like other people's parents, and Boruto realizing that, you know, it's what he learned in the movie arc basically, and seeing that kind of come back with his character is definitely nice to see. And yeah, I think that's most of what happens in this episode. I did think it was fun during the Sakura interaction that she immediately notices that like these two are so similar, and you get the constant every time she compares the two of them, both of them denying it really, really aggressively, and so it just doubles down that yeah, Sakura is completely right. They are so similar in many ways. So yeah, next episode seems to be teasing that we're going to get a lot of Boruto interacting with a lot of other important characters. So it seems like he's going to meet Hinata, which is going to be very fun. She's going to get to see Naruto and Hinata's dynamic at this point. He's going to get to meet Neji, who of course he never got to meet. So that'll be an interesting one. And I think they teased a few other characters as well. But I'm really liking where this arc is going. I'm perfectly fine with them taking the time to just focus on character interaction stuff. The plot can come later, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'm fine with spending a bunch of episodes of just setting up, like, Boruto interacting with this character, Boruto interacting with that character, and then finally introducing Urashiki and doing whatever they want to do. But yeah, that's been my thoughts on this episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.